Hey guys, welcome back. We're into game one here between Rising Stars as well as Rattlesnake. Keep in mind, whoever does lose this set gets completely eliminated from the tournaments. These games are super high stake.
Yeah, and actually we saw both teams put up quite a performance yesterday. Vici and LGD obviously the favorites, but both teams look like they could have won. They actually took a game off each, and I think it was actually Rising Stars that looked like they should have won overall, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I think it could go either way, honestly. Every single game from here on out is absolutely insane. This is the top 4 teams from the qualifiers. They've all shown really good individual performance. Every single one of them took a game off of LGD in the previous day, so, I mean, the games are going to be insane. So, let's hop into the game client here. We are into the picking already, and actually, first pick going to start things off. It's going to be a Lifestealer pick for Rattlesnake. This hero's been actually getting banned a lot in the first round.
Yeah, it's actually just such a powerful hero. I mean, it has a great initiating spell that actually heals your team from all damage. It has a free BKB essentially that gives you attack speed on top of that. That ultimate provides such a critical escape possibility, and also it heals you to full if you can get a large enough creep. I mean, I think David God says that it's the best hero in Dota.
Remaining.
I just saw him roll his eyes, but I'm always going to reference that because I believe in that.
5 seconds remaining.
Why is he rolling his eyes then? Does he not believe this anymore?
No, because I reference it every single time that hero's picked or banned.
If I say it, it's true.
Let's just wait until Lifestealer gets a kill and we'll be like, God said it, man.
God said it.
There it is. Absolute proof. Best hero in Dota. Got a kill.
It's fantastic, though. If you really think about it,
good.
it has a 6-second BKB, right?
With 4 skill points, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's very good, yeah. The disable is fantastic as well. He doesn't have a stun, so he can be countered by a couple things, but once you grab an armlet and some movement speed, it's really some solid damage. Kind of surprised to see so many Kunkka bans, actually, the first round. Now, I started seeing LGD drafting the hero a lot. They were playing him during the G1 League finals, and playing him in a mid-roll, and they picked him almost every single game, or at least they picked him a lot of the games, in my experience. It was pretty impressive to see, and seeing him get banned in first round is crazy to me.
It's fighting against him in team fights is a nightmare just because of that makes it so difficult, and the move speed bonus it gives, and if it hits at all, it's almost as if the damage is a secondary benefit to it.
Yeah.
So Rubik and Batrider are going to be picked up. Rubik a top tier support obviously, and Batrider just a nightmare to play against where you can lane him pretty much anywhere, and on top of that ultimate that goes through that rage from Lifestealer.
Yeah, it goes through BKB or 6-second BKB. So that'll give them some options in the late game. They can always disable the Lifestealer if they need to. Rubik as well. It'll set them up against any possible teamfight heroes or general disablers. But this is actually a really early Rubik pick for how the tournament has been going so far. A lot of teams are actually just completely foregoing Rubik as a support hero. They've been opting for a lot of different other heroes instead of him.
Yeah, Nyx and Skywrath Mage are going to be picked up. Skywrath is a hero that I see experimented with quite a bit, actually. I saw him in the West qualifiers as well as the East ones to mixed success. I mean, the silence is really great to initiate with, as is the slow. I mean, the slow hits from the entire screen, and that ultimate, the damage it puts out, is simply insane.
Yeah, it really is great damage. The downside is that once you pop the ultimate, you're on cooldown for not too much, but the mana cost is absolutely huge. It's about 600 mana, I think, for level 1, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I have to check. Nope, I'm completely wrong. 600 damage, sorry, 350 mana. But it does scale up.
Reserve time.
And Nyx going to be picked up as well. A hero that actually we've seen in the second phase instead of the first. Doesn't seem to be as prioritized as it used to be. As is Mag, actually. That's another hero that's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit. Just not being picked in the first 3, I noticed.
Why do you think that is?
Just teams are getting more comfortable about playing against it, being a lot more cognizant about positioning. Mag still does offer that the reverse polarity ultimate, which is like the most game-changing ultimate if you can land it on multiple heroes. But it's just getting a bit more difficult to play. And I guess long laning it is a little difficult now, too, just because of the skewer nerf. So you almost have to put a mid.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Weaver's picked up by Rising Stars here. This is drafted as a counter against Lifestealer. In Rattlesnake's favor, they have a Skywrath Mage already, so they can actually gank Weaver pretty easily with a silence. They can silence him and then combo off with abilities and try to kill him before the silence runs out. But Weaver's drafted against Lifestealer again. Tsukuchi makes you max movement speed, and that means that open wounds doesn't really affect you. At the very least, you'll be max movement speed for a couple of seconds. So it's possible they could do an offlane Weaver, or they could just even do some kind of dual or tri-lane setup against Lifestealer if they really want to. And Weaver is pretty good at that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good counter against Lifestealer, just because how do you initiate with the open wounds, right?
And
at
least
also,
on him.
Yeah, you can't. He also does a really good job of getting away and just kind of harassing from a distance and never letting Lifestealer close the distance to get his damage in. But Skywrath Mage a pretty good counter with the silence, but only 1 stun so far on Rattlesnake, so that's a little bit of a concern. If Weaver can get any sort of escape item or defensive item, then you should do just okay, or just fine.
I feel like they probably didn't want to pick up the Weaver already this early on in the draft because he's more of a niche counter pick, but whenever you have a lifestealer, it's pretty common to actually see Weaver banned in the second round from what I've seen, so they're going to have to put their bans against other stuff. They ban out a Dragon Knight as well. Rising Stars is still looking for a possible mid hero. They could put Bat Rider mid, but they could also do him off lane or jungle or whatever, so they're going to ban out at least common mids. Juggernaut necessarily played that much mid, but Dragon Knight, I don't think I've seen him anywhere else but mid so far.
Oh, Juggernaut?
Dragon Knight, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, Dragon Knight, not the best short lane hero. I mean, obviously it's a little difficult to long lane with him as well, just because of the ability to spam out the Breathe Fire with the bottle crowing, and then from there you get a quick level 6 and just push down towers left and right.
Your favorite hero is now banned out by Rising Stars. Why do you think they banned him in this game? Oh, was Rattlesnake? Does it counter their hero specifically? I mean, Rubik's okay against Storm because he has instant initiation, and Bat Rider might have trouble with him, but not necessarily in the laning stage or anything like that.
It would just give Rattlesnake a lot of options in terms of, it'd be really difficult for Rising Stars to deal with it because they already have to deal with the Lifestealer and the Nyx and the Skywrath, and those are 3 heroes that absolutely needed to be dealt with early. And so Storm is just a hero that requires a lot of attention. So if he were to delay going in just a little bit, then he could actually do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah,
especially since
let
with
somebody
Bat.
else take the
yeah,
alpha
exactly.
or something.
So, I mean, if the Bat were to jump on the Storm, then the Lifestealer would have a free reign. Alchemist is actually going to be banned. Another hero that's gone really popular in these qualifiers.
Yeah, he really has been played a lot, and kind of skill builds all over the place, honestly. Doomrayer also banned. He's seen a little bit of play yesterday. Didn't work out extremely well, but he's a pretty decent hero, and Gyrocopter is going to be the carry pick out of Rattlesnake.
Yeah, it actually seems like Rising Stars, a lot of their bans are centered around what they saw yesterday, and just trying to deny people the heroes that they enjoy playing. And actually Gyro, actually we saw at the recent G League finals, we saw, what was the team, DK pick him first, like 3
First
times.
pick Gyrocopter?
Yeah, it was pretty insane.
Really?
But he's such a good hero,
remaining.
just because you can put him mid, and he'll succeed as well, just because he can farm so easily.
5 seconds
And in the short
remaining.
lane.
And that might be the case this game because they already have a Lifestealer, so I'm expecting if they do a tri-lane, it might be a Lifestealer tri-lane. If that's the case, Gyro has to lane somewhere still, unless he's playing support, which is unlikely. So either they put him mid or they put him safe lane versus a solo. Gyro is okay against Weaver, but I'd be more expecting him to be mid versus Bat Rider because you can use Rocket Barrage without turning around. So if Bat Rider does end up diving, you have a pretty good solution against Bat. So it'll kind of force you into like an even trading CS war, which Gyro should do okay at.
Yeah, the issue is that Bat can simply just sticky napalm and right-click you and force you off the lane. But Gyro does okay because the flak also works really well because you can keep pushing the creep wave, and it makes it so that Bat can't just stack up creeps and dive you at the tower.
Yeah. Enchantress's draft next for Rising Stars. That will give them a jungle hero, possible tri-lane aggressive.
10
See
seconds
Rubik,
remaining.
Enchantress, and they're still looking for a farmer unless they want to put Weaver. If they want to put
5
Weaver off lane,
seconds
which is what I'm
remaining.
expecting, they won't necessarily put them in the tri-lane there, but this will give them possibility to take a really, really early tower if they need to.
And Visage is actually going to get picked up now.
Team pick.
It's really interesting. Maybe
So
they're...
how are they laning this here? Now, things are looking... I guess they could be Visage, Nyx, Lifestealer tri-lane with Skywrath Mage mid and then Gyrocopter safe, or they could put Skywrath safe. Maybe it's going to be Skywrath safe, expecting the Weaver off lane, and then Gyro mid versus Bat Rider. Does that seem
Maybe
ridiculous?
Gyro solo short lane, Nyx mid, and offensive tri lane is what I'm actually thinking.
Repeat that again.
I think
Gyro
it'll
safe?
be Nyx mid,
Nyx mid.
Gyro safe,
Okay.
and then offensive tri lane
With
using the
Skywrath
Lifestealer,
Visage.
Skywrath. Or
Okay.
yeah, no, yeah. Okay,
It would give them better ranged right click, that's for sure. And if it is actually Weaver versus that, they could silence him, and that would cover them. They could do silence with Soul Assumption as well as the third hero there. So
Yeah.
I guess that's possible.
Okay, let's see who's right, Kevin. I mean, Linam, look at his build. He's got a Tango and 3 Ironwood branches. And it looks like Luo is just being stacked a ton of stuff. Yeah, he's got a Magic Stick. I think he's actually anticipating, because of that early Magic Stick pickup, going against that Weaver, in fact. Yeah, I was right about the lanes.
Man, you're so smart. How do you know so much?
It's almost as if I predicted that Landam Nyx. I mean, Nyx is just a hero that isn't really picked for the support as much anymore. Just because it's so crucial to get levels on him, and he's not I mean, his spells don't really do too much without the levels.
Yeah, they're not that great in the tri-lane setup if he does get behind. So let's go over the players really quick for Rattlesnake here. Man, I almost said Rising. It was really close. Sagam is going to be playing Visage Ices on the Lifestealer. We've got Kabu playing the Skywrath Mage on the mid lane. Lanham playing Nyx Assassin like you said before. Oops. And on the bot lane we also have Luo playing the Gyrocopter.
For Rising Stars, we've got Super on Enchantress. Air going to be playing that Weaver. XDD going to be playing Batrider. Mofi or Mafi? Mofi? I guess that's how we're going to be pronouncing it this cast. He's going to be playing the Rubik. And Zhao Tuji going to be playing that Lone Druid.
Alright, so Gyro is going to the bot lane. He's going to be up against a Batrider, which has been anticipated, like you said, because of the magic stick, so he will be getting mana for sticky napalm charges. But it does look like Enchantress is going to go aggressive, so this could put them in a little bit of a weird spot because they could actually push the lane a slight amount using Batrider, and then also possibly dive.
Yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of that early magic stick pickup going up on the Gyrocopter, and actually people can't see what we're looking at, so gonna take a quick second just to fix some technical issues really quickly.
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. I just have to restart Dota really quick.
Fire LD.
It's LD's fault this time, guys, not Kawa's.
Is it really? Yes. Go Kawa. Now it's Kawa 1, LD 0 for the night. Is that how we're gonna do it?
I think we should keep count. I think it's the only way to keep this fair and balanced.
Gosh, the one thing that sucks about having super long hair.
On the bright side, guys, we are the game is actually paused, so it's not like you're missing anything here. So sorry about the. I wish we could look at trees right now, but unfortunately we can't.
Make sure you reset your threshold.
Okay. All right, let's look at some item builds. You might as well look around. Let's talk about stuff, man.
Okay.
Go click on stuff.
So Luo's got stacked a tango. He's got 2 tangos, Arena Protection, and a magic stick. I really like that early magic stick pickup because we don't know. Well, we know obviously, but Luo doesn't know if he's going to be against the Weaver or the Batrider. But this protects him against both, since it's always going to be useful.
By having both tangos, or by having that
or
plus
the magic stick? Because if the Weaver goes invis, obviously it'll give him a charge, and he'll go invis quite often in this lane. So, and if it's the Batrider, then obviously the sticky napalm will give you quite an advantage. And then as far as, I mean, standard offensive tri-lane stuff, actually Kabu going to be holding an Ironwood branch of Ices, who is, where actually is Icy?
Where is my scroll? Okay, it's good.
Wait.
All right.
Okay, it's because he actually has Observer Ward. I was so confused for a second.
Looks like the game is about to start, so we're going to hop back into the game. Sorry for the pause there, guys. I'm happy to say at least that's the first time we've had to pause the game because of our technical issues, so.
We're the best. I don't actually know the rest of that song, so I always just say that.
You say around, and then I don't, and then you say something's gonna
and then
keep
I just
you
kind
down.
of trail off.
I imagine the rest of that song is just not that fun because nobody ever talks about it. It's just really that one cool part. So
Rubik can enter the just gonna kind of poke around, check for the rune. Not actually there. Luo's actually gonna find the haste rune at bottom.
now this ward was spotted, by the way, or at least they should have seen this being placed. They're actually trying to swing around, go to the high ground. I love this position. Rubik may be likely to go here. Lone Druid's on the mid lane, and we actually even have another hero sitting in the mid area. It's Enchantress, actually. And she's just sitting here. She's just moving out at 30 seconds, so taking a really delayed path to the jungle. For now, Weavers can get free farm on the top lane, but the only hero shifting over is Lifestealer.
Oh, Zhao 2G, you gotta watch out.
Oh, wow. He's getting dive from the haste rune. With the Rocket Barrage, he is able to get the first blood, so level 2 right off the bat for Gyro. A really nice start here. Downside is he only has tangos. He's got a lot of way to go until he hits full HP.
And actually, they tried to dive on mid. They sent all 4 heroes to gank a mid. Then they rotated all of them out, and then they kind of went back in. So it looked like Zhao Tuji was in a pretty bad spot, especially since nobody appeared on the map. He still was just kind of happily farming mid, and the gank actually fails, though.
Man, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, I mean,
no
Icy
gank
even
there.
came, and then he kind of just backed off. He didn't even place a ward.
It's a lot of effort as well. He actually shoots a concussive shot on the top lane. Those are pretty mana expensive, so throwing that on him, I don't even know why he did it. They're not going to kill a Weaver at level 1. They don't have silence, and they can't kill him without silence, so kind of weird behavior. But Rubik is doing some pulling at least, so they will be able to split EXP 2 ways here. Gyrocopter actually spending some time in the jungle because he is worried about getting dived. He does actually have to be really scared of this, despite getting the first blood on the Gyrocopter, because as soon as the creep wave goes away, if they can just have a Centaur tank a tower as it right-clicks the enemy hero, they can easily pick off this Gyro.
Yeah, it's really easy to get sandwiched, so Luo has to be quite afraid, considering. But that means the top lane is going to be strengthened a little, but as long as Rubik pulls and just keeps the lave by the tower, he should be okay. I mean, Weaver doesn't have too much to worry about. As long as he doesn't get, they don't let Skywrath get any levels, then they should be okay. And actually, Rubik in quite a bit of a scary position here, but as long as Lifestealer doesn't rotate over, he should be perfectly fine.
Yeah, once he gets that level of silence up, that's when the Weaver has to be really careful. So he's most likely keeping an eye on Skywrath Mage. On the bright side, it's an aggressive trial lane, so that means they don't have easy ways to get EXP, such as pulling. So it will give him a minute or two until he can get his levels up a bit. And once he does get his levels up, he'll be even more safe. More HP, lower level cooldown of Sakuchi, and all those other good things.
Yeah, Muffy actually just hanging around trying to get levels. He's actually level 2. Sag just level 1, so no silence here for him. Sag M actually has Soul Assumption level 1, no Grave Chill. So completely relying on the concussive shot and open wounds to initiate.
There's a gank on the bot lane though. Rocket Barrage is used, but he's being dived on 3 stacks. They're still chasing. Magic Stick has been used and a lot of damage output. 1 right click, 2 right clicks, and Enchantress gets the kill. So Rising Stars will escape from this one down to 85 HP, but they actually do get a kill, so tying things up on the bot lane here.
Yeah, Luo actually had to know that was going to happen. The Enchantress rotates bottom early, and he just doesn't have enough defensive capabilities to keep him off of her.
Yeah. There's not too much he could do. It was only a 3 stack. That's really not that bad. He has pushed a little bit using Flat Cannon, but he still did get right click there and disabled. So pretty easy kill for them. And that's going to allow Super to pick up more creeps and then control and possibly dive again. Batrider actually has to go back to base though, because again he only had tangos, so he could stand there and just wait until his HP hit full, but it would have cost him all of his tangos, and he's probably better off just going back to base, grabbing a TP scroll, and TPing back to lane.
Yes, and actually, Luo has to be really careful here. In this lane, there's not really a whole lot to deter, because most of the time Rocket Barrage should be enough, but with that 1 creep there to buffer the damage, it should always make the dive relatively safe. I mean, he almost did die there, but it was a safe dive.
Yeah.
And actually, Lanam has to be somewhat careful mid as well, just because since the Enchantress is offensive jungling, and they don't actually have a ward set up, it's really quite scary for him.
Well, the rune's actually going to spawn on the bot lane. It's a haste instead, so one nice thing about Lone Druid on the mid lane is he can just send one of his bears to the rune spot, so he can help control the rune that way. It didn't actually end up being top, so he wasn't able to deny it, but that's going to force the Nyx Assassin to Bottle Crow, and at the moment he's up to 14 last hits, which is pretty good, but Lone Druid is a much better last hitter, so he's up to 24 and 10.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Lanam is doing this well, just because you're essentially facing 2 heroes, or a hero and a half at the very least, against the Lone Druid, and that's what makes him quite strong mid, just because it's difficult to gank him, as long as you kind of send the bear forward to scout and all.
Oh wow, he's actually going to TP from this one. Maybe a little overly. I don't know if that was quite needed personally. Double Satyr with an Enchantress. He would have taken some damage, but
I think he was just afraid of getting dived.
Yeah.
And better safe than sorry kind of scenario. As long as he doesn't die here, he should be okay in this lane. He can play catch up. The dangerous thing right now is XDD is getting a little more farm than I think Rising Stars is or Rattlesnake is comfortable with. Just because he's now going to start free farming with Bat. He can force the gyro out of the lane this easily. And a fast blink would be terrible for Rattlesnake.
Ooh, and the bear actually gets killed mid, so it's going to force a resummon from Lone Druid. He probably is going to transform and salve as well. We'll see just about now. But yeah, Batrider's just about hit level 6. Gyrocopter's slightly behind in EXP. He did actually finish his magic wand, which I like quite a bit, because when he does get dived on, there will be more magic stick charges, and at some point, he's going to have to use that. And usually you can only use it about once per dive, unless you use it like right at the start or something. So getting up to 15 charges instead of 10 could be the difference between him living or dying.
Yeah, Lanam actually, I think, might go back to base if he doesn't start sending the courier up soon. If he doesn't get the rune, then I'd anticipate that he'll actually go bottom with his ultimate. He has it at level 6, so he's doing pretty well in experience, and he really has to help Luo out. It's hard for the tri-lane to rotate down there, so it's actually, I think, Lanam's kind of responsibility slash duty to go down there and help him out. And he actually does need to make something happen. Oh, pick up the rune. No!
Oh, he didn't get it. It was there for a second, but he messed it up. Lone Druid able to grab the DD rune, so it's pretty much just wasted there on the bear. Doesn't actually do anything for him. They even put an aggressive ward down bottom, just placed now by the Enchantress. Here comes the dive though. 4 skeletons, a Dark Troll, as well as a Alpha Wolf. They're going to spot him out. Here comes the net. 3 stacks. Yep, 3 stacks of napalm. Here comes the Firefly. They actually use the last of 2 TPs coming. Can they save him in time? But he's taking so much damage. Wand press last second. He's not running in the fire anymore. He's actually going to end up surviving here, but the Wolf is chasing him. Uses a Rocket Barrage, but he's going down. Enchantress is able to get the last hit down there. Lifestealer picking up the Batrider, but still a pretty good trade there. I think that was probably worth it for the Dire team.
I mean, they had to rotate 3 heroes down just to save him. I mean, or 2. IC had to come down as well, so it looks like they're just going to swap out lanes. The Rage actually does quite well against the sticky napalm just because you can rage it off. But having to waste that time, I mean, what is Skywrath Mage going to do at top? He's a level 3 Skywrath mage against a Weaver and a Rubik.
Yeah, Weaver's not a good hero to solo against when you have an EXP and level advantage. He's got no armor, only sitting at 1 right now, and 600 HP, so he's definitely really squishy. And if Weaver wants to get aggressive all of a sudden, he definitely can.
Yeah, and especially with the Swarm that he's got, once he throws that down, that 1 armor, it's going to be pretty worthless. It's like the new Doom, essentially.
It's like it's going to be 0 or something like that, worthless.
And
So
Rubik actually
worthless.
just going to continue to stack and pull. He's actually level 4, doing quite decently. He's going to hit level 5 with the stack and pull as well. So doing quite well in levels. And the Visage is actually level 5. When did that happen? How did that happen? Probably the kill at bottom, right? When they picked up XTD?
He has 1 assist and only 3 last hits with 7 denies, so I assume it's from Ben. No, Rubik's
it's
been
from the
pulling
kill,
this
right?
whole time.
The Visage got
Oh,
EXP from
solo
the kill,
EXP
yeah.
on somebody? Yeah, that's possible.
IC actually going to go rotate back top now. The farm for him is 32 CS. Doing quite well against Air, who's at 21. 32 CS at 8 minutes isn't the best, but compared to farm is what matters. They're actually going to go on Air at top.
Oh, they're going to start diving on him. Well, he actually does get killed, so silence is used. He's actually maxing this out first to get the slow or the maximum amount of disable on the Weaver, and they can actually turn this into a push. We actually see a TP top. This is Lone Druid coming to the top lane. They really are shifting their lanes now, and he actually has a lot of farm, but they're going to Flaming Lasso on top of the Nyx Assassin. Getting here just the right time. Dust has been used, but so is the Spike Carapace. They're not done chasing yet, and the Fire Burn is going to be enough. Nyx Assassin ends up getting picked off.
Yeah, they actually rotated to kill top tower, and everyone TP's in, including the Lone Druid. So good save, and they get the pick off on Nyx.
Oh, this poor sentry gets de-warded by the creep.
Dire's top
Another
tower
TP coming to
has
the back,
been denied.
back to the top. That's Weaver level 6 now. He's going to be finishing Treads up next. And a lot of Rising Stars are actually sitting in this general area. Mid tower is being pushed because the slow Luo is able to do some tower damage. And with his base, he can possibly lowers the tower down a bit farther.
Yeah, and I'm actually really afraid for Luo. He's had a terrible start this game. I mean, he's got a Ring of Bassi, a Magic Wand, and 872 gold for short lane farm. I mean, he was dual laned, but still, they don't really have too much going for them right now. The top 2 farmers in the game, both on Rising Stars.
Yeah, the CS was very heavily weighted towards the top, or towards the Dire team, it seemed like. Yeah, Enchantress is in second, Lone Druid is sitting at first, but things actually evened up a little bit here. Pretty low CS for actually a lot of people this game, but that's because they have spent so much time running around.
Yeah, and Icy actually going to pressure top. Air going to just run away. He's actually suffered quite a bit in farm, and life is going to be hard for him if he doesn't pick up any sort of items. I mean, the Skywrath Silence alone, the timing on that, he is leveling the Ancient Seal, should be able to kill him pretty quickly.
He's got 3 levels at the moment, so that's a 5-second silence with the extra magic damage. Is going to be great, actually, especially with like Nyx Assassin. If you can initiate with Nyx Assassin and silence a guy and get the bonus damage from Impale as well as Mana Burn, it's really, really cost efficient.
Yeah, and it's instant, right? So it's not like you can cast the Silence after the fact.
Yep, you don't have to worry about it too much. They're going to take more creeps in the mid lane. Lone Druid's in position to defend, as is the rest of some of these supporters. Actually, a lot of the heroes are coming mid. Enchantress sitting on a Treads, Ring of Basilius, which isn't really that much at the moment, but considering his farm, it's actually not bad. He's got 3 kills, actually. He's doing fantastic.
Is he just picking up wards? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I thought he would have more, to be honest. It is a lot of CS.
I actually think
from
so,
creeps.
because Mofi's almost got Arcane Boots at 10 minutes with a support Rubik with only 11 CS. So I assume the ward duty is entirely shifted to Enchantress. I actually really like this. It means
Me too.
the Rubik isn't going to be completely worthless this game. He's going to get Arcane Boots at a relatively early pace. And since Super got a pretty good start, I mean, he can pick it up. He's got Treads ready, which should be enough for this game alone.
Yeah, I really like
For
it
the early game anyways.
for the same reason. I mean, Rubik with an Arcane Boots can be a lot more effective in the early game, at least. Might see a dive on Barrett, actually. Maybe a Rocket Barrage. Missile's going to come through. Actually uses Firefly. Double Bats
the
as well.
Bat
Call
stun.
down, and the Rocket Barrage. He's going to be able to pick him off. I love this little gank here. Bats plus Gyro means a kill, but with Enchantress coming back, Telekinesis lift and more right clicks. Gyro's going to die really easily. That was a solid gank, but unfortunately for him, Enchantress happened to be in position with the Rubik.
And Zhao Tuji actually TP's down as well. He's actually done a lot of TPing as a lone druid.
Yeah, you're completely right. This is not the I'm going to solo the game as a lone druid situation.
This is the
that we normally
ganking
see.
bear.
It's more like a show up as the enemies all die TPing. That's what it's been at least twice now. It's just kind of like teleporting.
A little bit late to the party, but he's trying, Kevin.
He's trying really hard.
Don't make fun of the bear.
So the reason I really like the Rubik with the extra farms, because grabbing Arcane Boots up this early on Rubik gives you a lot of options. You can counter push with it. You can cast Fade Bolt more than 3 times in a team fight. If you steal a really mana intensive spell, you can actually also afford it. So now that he's level 7, this makes him, this like opens up all of his possibilities as a support hero on Rubik, you don't really need a whole lot past this. So if he wants to go to buying wards at this point, it's going to make him a lot stronger. If the money was being spent on Enchantress instead, all it's going to give you in terms of profit is maybe slightly more HP early, or maybe a faster mech. And just Arcane Boots alone, that 1,000 gold extra that Enchantress has spent on wards is going to make all the difference for him, and not do that much to hurt the Enchantress past like the mech delay or something.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, that item benefits his entire team, especially since Enchantress did go Treads instead of Arcane Boots, which I agree with that decision, of course, but they need at least one here to get Arcane Boots.
Yep, and Rubik is a good choice. The bats are going to go into Gargoyle form. Just a little harass on the Bat Rider. Scouting people off once again. The Rainy Team Rising Stars. I'm sorry, Rattlesnake, excuse me. They're really spread out at the moment, so it might cost Rising Stars EXP gain a bit here, but they're doing pretty good. 4-4 if you look at the graph. It's pretty much dead even game. And who do you think has the best chance of winning this late game based on their compositions?
I mean, for a pure late game perspective, Gyro does quite well for himself just because of the flat cannon damage that you can put out.
Oh,
and he
wow.
flash farms so quickly, but... Oh, and at top, Land
Oh, the sentry goes down. Super suspected something or heard the invis. I'm really not sure. Maybe it was the infest that they heard, but
and
they're
that's
going to
actually
back
two
up.
ultimates being used on him, and that's a lot of time wasted that IC's not farming and Landem's not getting anything out of.
Yeah.
So really nice save on there. Actually, bottom looks like it's going to be defended.
Yep, there's some flat cannon going down. A glyph on the tower as well. So many TPs, but they'll get out immediately. They honestly, they don't want to press the issue here. Actually, the Weaver bugs are going to completely whiff here. I'm sorry, that's not correct. Oh, I see those Rubik's Weaver's bugs. Is that right? Nope, still crazy.
Oh,
Okay.
Air's almost out of mana. He actually is out of mana, but he's got a 15 charge wand.
Ooh, Icy gets Flaming Lassoed. Air's right-clicking. Actually, it's mana burn, but pops the wand, goes back up to about 30%. The rest of Rattlesnake is running for the life stun, lands a Lone Druid, another nuke. It's going to slow down Bat Rider a little bit, but will we see an ulti from Kabu? He drops it down, but it's actually going to whiff. He's taking some bear damage, and the rest of the raiding team backs off. Only person that died there was Rubik, but that was pretty early on in the fight, so I feel like their lineups really don't have the best killing heroes at the moment. Like, they have some good disables, but it's not like they have a bunch of ranged nukes that they can just easily chain for kills.
Yeah, and Zhao Tuji shows up at bottom, which signals the end of the fight. He's going to get the tower deny and then kind of just back off. Every time that guy TPs now, I'm just going to assume the fight's over, because they're going to see the bear and run away, which is a natural response to seeing a bear with purple hands.
Yeah, how do you get your hands purple like that? Must be magic. Which means you don't want to fight him. It's not a good situation to be in.
Most definitely. And actually, that's a pretty decent armlet, especially for the timing this game. Relative farm-wise, he is dominating.
Yeah, his GPM is on the top of the charts here. He's up to 78 CS. He's beating out the Lifestealer with a relative free farm. Again, the gank is getting set up here. This is an Infest on a Invisible Nyx. He hasn't actually used his ulti yet either. This is just an invisibility rune, so he can actually do a little bit extra burst damage on that.
Landem actually got spotted, though. I think Air saw this. Yeah, he passed that sentry ward over here.
Oh, and walked right on top of it.
Yeah, and he's actually walked by 2 sentry wards, and Air actually not responding to this, or maybe thinking he has a little bit more time. If Air's actually able to get out of this, oh god, he's really...
He goes invis. He'll be
patient. Oh god, he's going to hit the creep.
Here comes the stun. He's going to be able to go invis if he wants extra damage. Is he going to do enough? Yep, they do actually get him. That was really close.
It actually was in the process of popping up. I don't actually know. Air, the first sentry right here, he actually passed right through.
Yeah, this one.
And then I think they might have caught him at the tail end of that, so he should have been able to see that. And if he was actually able to see that, that would have cost Rattlesnakes quite a bit, because that's 2 core heroes being committed for an entire gank, and 2 ultimates on top, or not, well, 1 ultimate and Landem's Invis rune.
Yeah, and the second one didn't actually produce a kill, so, or the first one, excuse me, so it would have put them really far behind if they ended up losing 2 of those.
Yeah, but able to pick that off, just I think a bit of a misplay by Air. Maybe nobody saw it on the map, but
maybe he didn't run through the vision. Who knows?
Yeah,
that's
also possible too.
It was also really lucky that he had the invis rune, because if he didn't have the invis rune, he wouldn't have been able to break the he wouldn't have been able to break invis within Vendetta. It would have been possible that the Weaver could have got out of there, maybe like Sakuchi'd before the stun or something like that. So
and Kabu actually going to throw his ult out, meaning all of his mana's gone. Still has enough for the silence though.
Where did this happen?
Oh, at bottom rune, they kind of just saw the Bat Rider, and then he threw down the zoning ultimate.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's nobody even close to that Skywrath mage at the moment, so.
Yeah, and actually XDD going to be picking up I mean, he's only 600 gold away from his Blink Dagger. It looks like he's just going to jungle the rest of this out.
I don't really blame him too much. You might as well finish it up. Once you do get a Blink Dagger on Bat Rider, it just gives you a lot of kill opportunities. Even a hero like Visage farming right here puts a lot of danger into his game, because he does have to worry about getting pulled back by the bat. So might as well finish it up, stack some camps. Enchantress is actually going to steal some of this farm with skeletons and such, but he can get there pretty soon.
Yeah, and I actually like to see somebody rotate bottom. There is quite a bit of farm down there, and the lane is pushed, but it looks like they're actually just going to come mid to try to start defending. Air going to be left top, as he should be. He is quite far behind in terms of CS, so Air doing the right thing here, just going to keep a TP, continue to farm, and wait for the actual inevitable engagement to come in. And the Bat's going to come in, stun super.
Yeah, they are going to throw down the double stun, but they're going to back up from this, looking for a stun. Gyrocopter gets the last hit on the tower. Might be able to get the Spirit Bear. They actually open wounds on him. There's an Impale as well, and that is going to be a dead bear. Soul Assumption gives 100 gold. He'll be able to resummon, but if this dies after that, it's going to be on a big cooldown.
Yeah, and once again, Rising Stars realizing they can't fight this, so send some heroes to defend and waste some time, and Air just using that time to try to catch up in CS and farm. He's actually picked up double Gauntlets of Strength. I'm actually liking that decision alongside going with the Wand and Strength Treads. That'll buff him to 1000 HP, meaning Lanam can't just solo kill him. And I think the Sentry saw him here. Are they going to plop down another one and catch him here?
Oh, there's the initiation. I don't believe they realize there are 3. Oh my gosh, they're doing so much damage. They do get the Rubik. There's a Flaming Lasso as well, but it's not on the right hero, and the Lifesteal was able to right-click like crazy. Lanam running for his life. The bugs are going to land on both heroes, but Lanam is going to die. That's honestly completely worth it. I can't believe they did so much damage. If they would actually realize there were 3 heroes there, I don't think they would have done that, but the AoE damage was huge.
Yeah, Lanam saying, alright, whatever, let's do it. And he made it worth it by hitting a 3-man Impale.
Yeah.
If that hadn't happened and Rubik was able to get anything off, or Bat was able to get anything off before the damage came, then that very well could have been a 2-for-1 trade. The other way, going in the favor of Rising Stars, but able to hit a 3-man Impale, that damage, I actually didn't see that coming. They all kind of just blew up to Icy's ult.
That was actually only a level 1 infest, so it wasn't even the level 2. Level 2 would have done quite a bit more damage. I love where the Sentry Ward is, though. Even though it's such a tiny amount of vision, it's not a place that is commonly put down for a ward, but this is pretty traversed area in here, and if anybody does run through this area, they will get spotted on the mini-maps. If you do have some Razor eyes on the map, you can see them coming.
Yeah, actually a really good spot for Lanam to TP and try to gank around, turned by Rising Stars to put a Sentry there. Obviously the reaction, I mean, he walked by that for sure that time, right?
Yeah, he was definitely within the vision.
Yeah, so it looked like Rising Stars was getting ready to set up. They didn't actually know his relative positioning, and they got kind of just caught out.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed like to me as well. Enchantress does have a gem now, by the way, so that's not going to happen once again unless they run through the trees all grouped up. The Gyrocopter has finished a Helm of the Dominator, so he's beginning his stacking with his Satyr. So stacked camps is what he's going to be looking forward to in the future. And the rest of the Radiant team is actually playing pretty close together here.
Yeah, and Air farms out the urn, just going wherever the action isn't, trying to catch back up, and Lanam definitely shouldn't be able to kill him in one shot now, especially with that wand. And actually they're going to 5-man smoke here. Looks like they're going to pressure in through mid. Xiao2G kind of figures out what's going on, starts backing up.
The
Be
downside
careful,
to this
friend. Oh, they're going to actually try to gank the jungle up, but it looks like everyone's going to disperse.
Gank the bats? Did they spot this or something? They must have seen it. They're all backing up so early here.
I don't think they spotted it. More like they just saw everyone disappear off the map and realized that something was going to come.
They're just having a nice party in the jungle. Nothing too weird. Man, their positioning is so safe. Batrider actually shows, but I don't think they really care at this point.
Yeah, and Luo actually shows out too, so I mean, nobody's going to be out this far.
Super. There's the drum charge as well. Big mana burn. The big ulti actually from the... Oh my gosh, everybody's just falling. 2 dead heroes already. Impetus as well on the next assassin. They throw a Grave Chill on the Enchantress to slow her down a bit, and the bats are going to feed slightly. The last missile comes in. The tier 2 tower is going to take some damage. They want to kill this immediately if possible. Tower's got about 600 HP. Instead, they're going to farm bats. So they'll lose their tier 2 tower here. Will it be denied? It does not get denied. Open wounds on the bear now, and they're going to feed the bear immediately afterwards. He's going for a Maelstrom, but he's going to be dead for a bit here.
Yeah, and actually Rising Star's playing this a little sloppily. I mean,
yeah,
2 times they've seen the Nyx come through, and he succeeded both times. Or 3 times, and he succeeded twice out of that. And then on top of that, they see the Gyro top. There's no way that Gyro, without any sort of defensive items, is just pushing solo into a T2. So, I mean, they even backed out into position, and then they didn't 5-man, which baffles me.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was like they were worried about getting ganked, and as soon as the enemies showed themselves, they got this false sense of security, like, okay, they're over there, no problem. And then they just snuck right in. They just walked right in, slowed the appropriate heroes, so it was kind of a weird reaction to it.
Yeah, and Xiao2G is definitely not the Root Lord. I have not seen that guy hit a root on Lone Druid yet.
On creeps, maybe?
Yeah, it's because he doesn't have the panda skin. That's
And-
entirely it.
And grabbing a Maelstrom does actually reduce your chances of rooting, in case you guys didn't know. Because whenever you can't proc the Maelstrom with the Entangle, I believe. So whenever the Maelstrom gets procced, I believe it overrides the
I mean, he's
Entangle
proccing a
clause.
crazy amount of lightning here. But if you're not going to root, that is going to be what sets up Lone Druid to get some kills.
Yeah, especially in the early game. Does quite a bit of damage. Visage actually finishes his mech. Really bare bones item build, but I like it quite a bit. Just a boots and a wand straight into the mech. Now it's pretty expensive to get here, and it's going to cost him a lot of mana. Actually, he's going to have trouble probably supporting all of his spells and team fights and stuff. But now that he has it, it's a huge boon to his allies, especially the tanky, already hard to kill heroes like Lifestealer and Nyx.
And actually, Rattlesnake's taking a pretty discernible lead. Lanam just going to be checking out the Rosh. Rising Stars sitting on top of the hill while Rattlesnakes just farms. I almost made a Lumi style mistake there. Lanam going to go down here. And actually the bat I talked about being 600 gold away at 14 minutes from his Blink Dagger is just picking it up right now.
He's had a rough game, man. 5 deaths on him. Keep in mind, he actually did end up feeding the first blood because of the hasted Gyrocopter, and ever since then, he did okay in his lane, honestly, but it's just gotten worse and worse here. He could Blink Initiate if he wants to. Gyrocopter's pretty far back. They could jump on him, but the downside is that there's a stun ready from Nyx Assassin. I know that he is waiting for this. It's 22 minutes. Surely
and he's going to actually hop in Luo, so I think they're hoping that Gyro actually gets lifted through. But
was that spotted, though? It seemed like they were
yeah,
like
look,
really
it's
close
right
to
in
the tower.
range. He's like, well, I dare you. It's almost like saying, I dare you. If you pop him in,
That's a good
then
point.
you'll take the infest damage as well.
Tower is under
But
attack.
that's the best option they have. XDD does have the Blink Dagger.
Well, Batrider doesn't have that much HP, so if he does get initiated on it, could be really bad. Some damage being done to the bear. He's down to about half HP. Rocket Barrage looks Rachel. He goes in. They're going to snag the next assassin. Will he pop out? There's the pop out, actually going on top of the Enchantress. Right clicks. Man, that Skywrath Mage ulti is so good against
Oh, is
Enchant.
Lanam actually going to... Oh, no, he doesn't
thanks.
actually live.
Like, saw his HP at the top. He barely had some. And they steal the gem. So gem gets picked up. Enchantress out of position there.
And that's actually a pretty big pickup. That makes it really difficult for Air to do anything. I think once Lanam comes back to life, the gem might just be rotated on him, especially with level 11. Should be able to do enough to kill Air with maybe just a little bit of help.
And again, they are going to deal with enemy heroes just briefly.
Dire's
So Rattlesnake's going to be able to take the
bottom
tower.
tower
So
has
another tower goes down.
Dire's
This
top
is
tower
all of these
is
towers.
under
In the
attack.
meantime, still stacking camps. This camp didn't end up stacking, but Rattlesnake can just back off and possibly take their ancient camps, farm the jungle for a bit. We'll see Rising Stars on the back foot, and they're going to try to come back from this, but it's going to be really tough. They keep getting all these gold advantages, and they're not getting enough kills to make up for it.
Yeah, they actually have quite an aggressive team with an Enchantress, a Lone Druid, a Batrider, and they haven't taken a single tower yet. Just being picked apart in these little mini skirmishes where they get off to a numbers disadvantage, and then it snowballs out.
So Air finishes the last couple jungle camps. They're pushing again. They're not done yet. Want to take this tier 2 the gem. Where did the gem end up going? Who did they drop it on? Actually, another slow on the bear. The Spirit Bear is taking more damage, down to half HP already. Just a 50-second cooldown on the bear, so this could be really bad. The double bats and the bear's going to go down, I believe, for quite a while. It does go down. So now they can't even fight. 45 seconds. They probably know it's not finished yet because they just killed it recently. The creep camp's going to come forward. Luo has 4,000 gold in his bank. Drum with the Helm of the Dominator. Man, they just feel so far ahead right now.
Yeah, he could actually go for a damage build instead of going for a defensive item like BKB. Maybe opt for Butterfly or an MKB. Just doesn't really need any sort of defensive items just because Icy puts out so much damage, as does Lan M. So he isn't really the focus as long as he kind of just sits back and waits, and he's actually going to pick up that Demon Edge. So I do anticipate him going for MKB here instead of getting something like a BKB, and I really agree with that decision.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cover him against a possible evasion that goes on either Weaver or Lone Druid in the future. But Air's actually running for his life here. The whole Radiant team is chasing him. We even have an Invis Nyx Assassin, but again, he's juking. He popped his time-lapse quite early. I assume that's because the whole Radiant team was here. Probably time-lapsed back and started juking, but he's going to teleport out and he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, no T2s left for Rattlesnake to take. I imagine they try to pressure and try to Roshan as soon as they can. They do have a gem, so they can just counter-ward it out. And that is the downside for Rising Stars getting that really quick gem. It puts the pressure on Weaver now, just because the gem is out there, and so it makes team fights a nightmare to fight. What you want to do with Weaver is flit around with Invis as much as you can, try to pick off supports, and stay alive for as long as you can to pick off and do damage. And also it makes, I mean, offensive or defensive warding a nightmare, just because as soon as he runs in, he's going to find it immediately.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's the worst thing when you buy that early of a gem and then you just immediately lose it.
I mean, he had it for like a good 2 minutes, and actually XCD gonna go on Sag.
He's gonna have a mech at least, but I don't think it's gonna be able to save him here. Pops a wand. He's gonna stay left for just a second. Summons some new bats. The fight's not quite over yet. Weaver taking a ton of damage. Skywrath Mage ulti able to pick off the Weaver. A huge kill for them. Gyrocopter's about to go down. Can he stay alive? The entangle at the perfect time. Gyrocopter goes down, and it looks like Rising Stars might be able to turn the fight. They did get a buyback off of Weaver, and we see Rubik fall as well to the Lifestealer.
Oh, the Bears and the Enchantress.
Oh, man.
The creep by Gyrocopter coming in. I thought it was the Enchantress for some reason, but just Shockwave hits.
Is that the Lone Druid Bear again? Oh, no, he's okay.
No, the Bear Friend's alright. But that was the most clutch Satyr.
What did the Satyr?
Shockwave.
Oh, it killed the
Yeah,
Barretter.
he shot the Shockwave at the last second. He would have actually been okay otherwise.
They have killed the stack, so hopefully the Satyr can go back to doing some good work.
Looks like Icy's going to go for... Is that a SNY? Yep, he's got the Yasha coming on the bird. I thought it was a Heaven's Halberd for a second, but... Looks like he is going to pick up the SNY. A common build, one that YYF from IG does quite often after he picks up the Drum's Armlet.
Yeah, the main reason people don't grab Sanjin Yasha usually is because the damage output on the item is pretty meager. It does give you a lot of utility things, like the maim is okay and the movement speed is pretty great, but it doesn't really give him as much damage output as you'd usually like for a 4,000 gold item. So the reason it kind of works out on Lifestealer is because he has Feast, which means that he's already got some damage naturally from a passive, and just having more movement speed on a really high base movement speed hero is really effective because it'll go a little bit farther.
Yeah, it means that open wounds isn't the only thing you need to initiate with. And actually, XDD going to go on Icy. Great gank here.
He is going to be able to rage, actually. He could actually open wounds.
He's
he
going to
wants
just
to fight.
go for Mophie.
He's going in.
Wow.
2-3 hits. Puts him low. He's going to be able to lifesteal on the Bear as well. Will he Armlet toggle? Nope. Telekinesis lift in. That is a dead hero, but got a little scary for Rising Stars a bit there. Rubik, I'm sure, is a little terrified.
It was the right decision to make, though. No creeps nearby.
Yeah.
Might as well just try to go for the kill. You notice he rages. He starts running down, but then he's like, well, there's no creeps. Might as well just try to go for it. And this might just be Rising Stars' first tower. I don't actually know if Lifestealer has the buyback. No, he definitely doesn't.
Yeah, that's got to feel good. The gold graph is going to even out a bit more then. It's at a 10,000 gold advantage for Rattlesnake. This could be a compendium comeback here. EXP is actually not that far off, only 3,000 gold advantage for Rattlesnake, so they definitely have the means to come back from this game. Just taking a tower like that is going to help a lot.
Yeah, and Luo, after the last fight, does finally see some damage. They run past him, and he's going to pick up a BKB in response.
Well, BKB up is going to help. Which hero is it on?
Luo, the Gyrocopter.
Okay, on the gyro. And he was really far ahead, by the way. He actually went Demon Edge before he grabbed BKB. But after breaking semi-even in the last fight, I'm sure they were thinking, okay, we can't be this greedy. It's not time to finish an MKB. It's definitely way early. Let's just get the magic immunity. We won't have to worry about any magic nukes from heroes like Rubik, or even maybe Batrider dealing some damage. It's also going to stop Impetus, which is also a major source of damage from Rising Stars.
Yeah, that's actually what hurt him a lot. That and the Bear. The Bear rooted him, but...
Can't stop the Bear.
Yeah, and Zhao actually going to pick up a Basher as well. Really like this build that Zhao Tuji's doing. He's going for the all RNG all-star build.
It's the only way to win, man. You just got to put all your luck into it. Just got to believe in it.
Heart of the cards kind of stuff, right?
I guess. I don't know why I hate that saying so much, but I do. Please stop. Never.
One time. I get one time. Everyone gets one.
That was your one time. Never again.
Okay.
I don't know why I hate that so much, but I think it's horrible.
XDD looks like he's going to go for a 4-staff, and this actually is going to be the second tower being taken by Rising Stars, and Rattlesnake going to just trade this out for a Roshan. Doesn't look like they want to contest, and the tower isn't full, but positioning is so much more important to defending a tower than simply having a tower at full. And it is a T1. I think Rising Stars knows for sure at this point that Rattlesnake is going to take the Roshan, but at the same time, they have no T2 towers up, so they're not in position, and they're actually just going to try to trade here.
And they're doing a ton of damage this tier 2. Glyph has already been used. They got 2 towers out of this. Pretty great for Rising Stars, actually. Rattlesnake was not able to defend. The Infest is actually in the Nyx, and they're going to get out. I love this Observer Ward they placed, by the way. It's nighttime, so they weren't quite sure if Rattlesnake was going to initiate, so this would have given them some nice vision in the fight.
Yeah, good trade by Rising Stars. They're a little bit behind, not too much, but enough so that making a trade for 2 towers for a Roshan is actually quite beneficial, and I think that wasn't too bad for Rattlesnake either. They had no more T2 towers to take. The only way they're going to push is with the pickoff, so might as well go for the Roshan there. And Weaver, though, is going to have a BKB for the next fight, and that's actually going to be huge just because they have no BKB breakers on the other team.
Yeah, that is true. What about Flat Cannon? They can just kill him, right?
Yeah, I mean...
They'll be fine.
There's Flat Cannon.
They'll be totally fine. The only other thing I'd like to talk about the Roshan is that I feel like the teams are still pretty close in terms of who can win team fights. So picking up an Aegis like that is going to help a lot.
LAN-M and Icy's going to pop out. Going to go on Zhao Tuji.
Ooh, the damage as well. Skywrath Mage ulti cutting right through him. Gem's on the ground. Will they be able to grab it? Nyx is thinking about it. He does drop his TP scroll, able to pick up the gem. More right click on Super. A lot of right click on Super. She's getting pretty low. A lot of levels and stats. Open wounds. Now he's in a ton of trouble. More nukes go down and Super ends up dying. Not able to pick up her mech in time. So.
And this actually should be a base push now. They still have the Aegis. Gyro has the MKB finish. 2 heroes dead. Looks like they're just going to push this out through. And Rising Stars, I mean, they do have the glyph. Zhao Tuji does buy back, so they can try to defend this. It is a little scary. Enchantress isn't the most pivotal hero, though, for this defense. So it looks like Rising Stars going to be able to hold, or at least try to defend, and Rule just kind of being in the front, and he's going to actually get picked up.
The entangle is huge as well. He does get bursted down all the way, but he does have a respawn because of the Aegis. Icy sitting in high ground, still trying to be as annoying as possible. Annoying because of Assange and Yasha. I mean, he hits decently hard, but nothing really, really impeccable. Stun on the bear. If they kill the bear, it's on cooldown for a really long time. 90 seconds. More right click. The bear gets killed. Icy's such a good counter against the lone druid bear, and the flat cannon just ripping through these support heroes. He even killed the bats that were stolen from Rubik, so that's pretty nice. He probably summoned those and then just died immediately.
Yeah, and actually that fight, I mean, the bat pickup looked good, but trading a hero for an Aegis at this point is going to lead to racks. Especially with Zhao Tuji did buy back, but losing the bear is actually more important than any of the heroes right now on Rising Stars.
Yeah, I mean, this is their most farmed hero on their team. He's got the biggest net worth, and he doesn't have the bear up. I mean, how are they supposed to fight this now? They're going on air again. Great silence with the call down. The force staff, he gets out of it. He's going to have to time lapse back into the damage. Takes a bit more, but he will end up surviving. And Rattlesnake just does not look like they're slowing down at all. Does it matter? I don't think they care about the enemies. Though Creep Wave is not here, so they're not going to be able to finish off the top racks like I'm sure they wish they could. But they got the middle racks at 33 minutes, so they're looking pretty solid.
Yeah, and actually, I really like the way that Rattlesnakes is playing this game. They're isolating the bear, killing it in the beginning of the fight. Zhao Tuji not learning his lesson, sending the bear out to kind of do reconnaissance, and he's losing it every single time. So by the time the fight rolls around, and the way that the bear actually works the best is in the middle of the fray where you can't focus it down like that. But if it gets isolated like that, where it gets open wounds, and then you can just right-click on the Spirit Bear, then you can really hurt the Lone Druid's damage potential.
And the Dire team is going to 5-man smoke. They're going to be looking for a kill. There's a ward on LAN-M, or I'm sorry, Uldryan on the map here. He thinks they're in that area, or they're running that way. He's actually going to run right past them, but do they have vision? Enchantress gets broken. He blinks immediately, a little scared about getting initiated on. So they know where the Dire team probably is right now, and they're going to continue pushing forward. But did Enchantress see? Yeah, she did for sure. She has great vision. They actually go and grab the next assassin. There's the pop out, a great slow coming out. Oh, the Skywrath Mage, another fantastic ult. He puts Enchantress solo. She goes down, and now right clicks on air. He's taking so much damage. 15% of his HP per hit here. Man, Lifestealer's hitting really hard.
Yeah, and actually the Flat Cannon doing work on air. You have a BKB, sure, but you still only have 1200 HP, 11 armor, and you have no damage. So getting the BKB was absolutely necessary just because the, what is it called? Ancient Seal from Skywrath Mage should be able to kill you in that timer. But at the same time, if you're going to go for this early BKB, you're not actually going to be putting out any sort of damage.
Yeah, it definitely hurts him quite a bit. On the bright side, they have Lone Druid, but if the bear keeps getting killed like he has been, I mean, he's got some pretty decent items on himself, Maelstrom, Armlet, as well as the Skull Basher. It's a lot of damage output, but if he's dead, it's going to rely on the Weaver, and Weaver with a BKB, like you said, just can't do the damage.
Yeah, and especially at this point, the magic damage isn't what matters. It's the physical damage that rips him apart. He doesn't actually have to even be near. As long as the flak hits him once or twice, he has to pop the ult and get out.
Flak is pretty good.
It's okay. Yeah. It's an alright ability.
Hit all of your opponents. 4,500 gold on him now. Would you like to see a Satanic here, or maybe like a Butterfly instead?
A Satanic here would be excellent. I mean, he puts out enough damage. A Butterfly isn't too necessary, especially with the way that the fights are going. But a Satanic, if he gets gripped, and he can live just for half a second, pop the BKB and the Satanic, it should mean that, I mean, he's invincible.
Yeah, he can actually heal back up to full pretty easily with that, if he needs to. On the bright side, though, well, I don't know. I kind of like Butterfly because the evasion would help him so much against the Lone Druid, but I guess
I mean, at this point, he can play as greedy as he wants. If he does want to pick up a Butterfly, he
Divine
can.
Rapier. Too greedy?
I don't want to see that. Okay, it does look like a Satanic. There's greedy, and then there's greedy. So a Satanic does do quite a bit for you. It's going to bump up his HP. The last few fights, he's died by getting pulled in the bat. He actually has a little bit of HP left over, and then he just dies, but at least this way, Once he gets dragged, he pops the BKB and the Satanic, and the extra HP that the Satanic gives you as well should mean that he should be able to live.
Well, we'll see if that's the case. He's 6, 4, and 5 at the moment, so doing pretty well. Lifestealer doesn't progress his item build either. He's at 3,800 HP. Or gold, excuse me. He'll sell his wand and a Reaver. So probably going for a heart, most likely, on Lifestealer. That'll make him even harder to burst down. Whenever you're playing against a lineup like this where your opponent's carries aren't really scaling their damage very effectively, like if they're not snowballing or they're not getting lots of kills and continuing the farm in an accelerated manner, grabbing more HP ends up being really efficient. So if he does grab a heart, it's going to take an extra probably 50% more damage to end up killing him. And if he does end up surviving, he can just escape, go back to full HP using the heart, and then hop right back in for the next fight. So.
Actually, I'd like to talk about Luo's item build. That MKB, I really preferred over the Butterfly, just because of the damage it gives you. I feel like a lot of gyros that do pick up the earlier Butterfly, they just do no damage.
That's not completely true, though. It does do a lot more single target damage. Whoever you're targeting can get mini bashed, but the flat cannon damage is fairly comparable. I mean, Butterfly gives you 60 damage. Monkey King Bar gives you, what, 88? So
yes.
it is more. It's what, 28 more, but I guess that's 50% more. It's a pretty high amount. But you do get a lot. You get a lot more attack speed from Butterfly. I don't know. I think Butterfly is not bad.
If you have the BKB though, you should be able to get all 6 flat hits. So it doesn't really matter when you get them off.
That's probably true. So how would there be a case where you'd like to get Butterfly? Maybe if you skip BKB. In the rare situation where that's okay.
I guess. I feel like if you are going to get a BKB, you might as well look at the MKB as well. I'll ask AUI about it after when we pass it off to the panel. We can have a little bit of discussion going on there though. But bats are going to be flying around, just trying to scout out. Looks like Rising Stars is a little bit unsure of what to do here. I mean, they are significantly behind. Not even a smoke on them at this point. They are kind of just gearing up. Have to play pretty defensively. I mean, it's pretty clear at this point. The Weaver, their main carry, or I mean, their short lane farmer. He's not really their main carry at this point. Doesn't really do any damage or represent any sort of threat to Rising Stars or Rattlesnake's supports.
Yeah, and if any of their heroes get picked off at this point, it's going to be a wrap. If they don't have buyback, which if we take a look at that stuff, not a whole lot of heroes with buyback this game, just Gyrocopter basically. So if any heroes die, it's a bad thing for them. So they have to stay pretty grouped up. That way they have their best chance to win a team fight. But if they're all grouped up like that, then they're not going to farm as well. If all 5 are generally in the same area. So
I think
it's like a double-edged sword pretty much.
I don't know where Icy's going. He's actually just like paused here, but if you actually really want to know what Network's like, I like to look at the supports and the difference in there. Sag has a hood, a mech, and he's almost got a pipe. And Kabu's got a 4-staff, a Ghost Scepter, and Arcane Boots. Comparatively, we've got the Enchantress with just the mech, and a Rubik with the 4-staff. So that's an extra item up.
Yeah, and just having an extra Ghost Scepter up really does make a big difference. It might seem like only a 1,600 gold item, but for support here, that's huge, especially when you're up against a hero like Lifestealer or Lone Druid. Just being able to survive any entangles or any focus fire can really turn the tides of battle, maybe give you an extra disable up.
And Luo's actually gonna start going for the Butterfly now. Picks up the Eagle Song. That guy's really farmed. Doesn't really matter what he goes at this point, as long as just gets the flat cannons off.
I feel like we've been seeing a lot of gyros not get extremely farmed lately, but this is pretty impressive to see. His looks like he's a double damage or something like that. Once he grabs the Butterfly MKB Satanic is pretty insane damage output. He's going to be hard to kill, and he does a whole ton of single target damage as well.
Yeah, not even opting to save for any buyback. Just so comfortable with their lead that he's just buying out repeatedly.
I like this style. It's more fun to watch. Butterfly's finished. The beautiful green sword is up 2,000 HP. He's got that all the evasion. And a whole 23 armor at this point.
And the Satanic. And a BKB. He's got survivability, damage, pretty much as anything Gyro needs.
Well, they have their major items picked up. Hard is on Lifestealer. Skywrath Mage is pretty much set here. Even Lan M is looking for kills. He's got an Invis rune.
Yeah. And actually, Rising Stars has no money for sentries. So I don't actually think they could spot this. They have 1 sentry on Mofi, but aside from that, and they 5-man smoke right here. Good idea to do. It looks like they're going to wrap around, try to get the high ground advantage. Lan M blinks up, not going to find anybody.
That was pretty aggressive.
Oh, they're actually going to come back around? No, just kind of posturing back and forth.
Yes, they're changing their mind. I don't know if they see him up there. They go. They're going on Lan M. They're going to pull them in. Lifestealer hopping out, going on the Lone Druid as fast as he can. Gem's actually on the ground. They were able to kill the next assassin. He does not have buyback, I don't believe. So Icy's still right-clicking a bit. Another Soul Assumption Nuke's going to pick off the Rubik. He dies pretty fast. There's not enough HP for him.
The flat cannon destroyed that Rubik.
It's a lot. Oh my god. Oh, and as well, the Skywrath Mage put the ulti down. Gem and True Side's on the ground. So not a bad fight for Rising Stars to trade 2 for 2, but it was a Weaver as well as their Rubik. So all the carries are still up for Rattlesnake.
Yeah, as long as Luo lives, Rattlesnake is fine. I mean, he's got so many items on him, and he actually didn't even take any damage. I think Rising Stars has realized that the best way to do it is isolate him at the end of the fight and try to pick him off from there. They're going on LAN-M every single time, just so he doesn't get any damage off, and I think this is the right decision.
Yeah, I agree as well. Don't let him get in position to stun. I mean, I don't even think he used Spiked Carapace. He died so fast. Even getting a Spiked Carapace stun reflection is huge. 2.4 seconds. If you can get that on 3 heroes, that's already a whole lot of team fights, like casting a very significant disable on your opponent. So.
The problem now, though, Kevin, is that the Bat Ult is being used for the Nyx. So what's stopping Icy and Luo from just popping out damage? And what's going to kill them in the first place, even with that?
Yeah.
One has a BKB and a Satanic, which he didn't even use. He's
With
like,
an
well,
Aegis.
yeah, that's a 9-second BKB, and he's had it for at least 10, 12 minutes.
That's a good point. That was like his second item. He went like Helm of the Dominator, and then he got a Demon Edge.
And then a BKB.
And then a BKB.
So
It's really impressive to see people be patient with their BKBs, honestly. It takes a lot of balls, because you have to just know, okay, that guy used a stun, that guy might have a stun, and I'm going to be okay if he stuns me with it.
I think
you
he's
just save it.
comfortable at this point from LAN-M to just soak up all the damage. And Icy has 3.6k HP with the Armor Pop, so he's not worried about a thing at all.
I actually like how he's maxing out the homing missile before he hits 25. I think it's worth it completely. They actually go in on the gyrocopter, but this is not the right person to initiate on. Even if he somehow dies here, they did literally 0 damage. Weaver dying immediately. The Bear's going to go down next, and that's going to be the bot racks. There's a buyback from Weaver, but there is no way that was the right choice. I mean, he had the Aegis. Like, even if they somehow killed that guy, he was coming right back up, and they were going to be out of burst damage. And good game is called. Rising Stars did what they could, but it just wasn't a whole lot, right? Rattlesnake just had a really methodical win there. I mean, they took all of the outer towers. Sure, Rising Stars did a nice job and took some towers back, got some map control, but when they were ready to push, they just had the setup, and I feel like their heroes were a lot stronger in a 5v5 engagement.
Yeah, Rising Stars actually kind of just looked a little bit unfocused. Some sloppy play that led to a little bit of a snowball. From there, able to take the win.
Yep, and the last tier 4 towers are going to get cleaned up here. Rattlesnake will push in towards the throne, and Rising Stars has to go back to the drawing board and think about what they're going to do in the next game, because if they do not win, they are out of the TI3 Eastern qualifiers. Now, keep in mind, they have to fight both of these teams, depending on who goes on, still has to fight all the way through LGD, as well as Vici first, that is. They have to beat Vici first today, but it's going to be a really hard game regardless. So, Rising Stars I just felt like they got outclassed by Rattlesnake there.
Yeah, it looked like they were just stiff more than anything. It looked like they were a little bit nervous, kind of just played poorly, and things kind of just snowballed a little bit out of control. I mean, we saw the 2 ganks happen by LAN-M. The first one, which was spotted out, but then the consecutive 2 after that, which they saw, they didn't actually respond to it at all.
Maybe saw, but
pretty
possibly
positive. I mean, the second time, especially when all 3 heroes rotated over,
that seemed
and
very
they clumped
obvious.
up, and then they got 3-man impaled, and then they lost a 2-for-1 trade, which should have been just get the Nyx kill immediately and then isolate the Lifestealer from there on. But we're going to pass it over to you. AUI, if I might ask about the whole Butterfly versus MKB discussion on Gyro first.
What is it?
Oh, like,
I like
what do you want? What you prefer doing?
I like Butterfly if you can get away with it. Butterfly, you're paying for 4 different things, right? You're paying for some agi, some damage, attack speed, evasion.
Yep.
I don't even know, that's 4 things. And some armor, I guess.
It looks cool.
And some damage. Yeah, and it's a lot prettier, which is always factors in. MKB, a lot of what you're paying for is the fact that you get a true hit on everything, so you never miss. But if the other team doesn't have evasion, then your item isn't really as efficient. If you're going to go for that extra single target damage from that little mini bash, then you should be getting a crit regardless. But like, if you're investing that much gold into a hero, he can't just be doing damage for just 6 attacks. He needs to be doing damage to the entire team fight. And building an item like Butterfly, it lets you live longer too. And living longer just lets you get more attacks off. And the fashion in which he lives longer also lets you get more attacks off because you're getting bashed less by the Lone Druid Bear, which is really the only way that guy was going to die, if at all.
Butterfly definitely helps there. Lone Druid wasn't really farming MKB anytime soon. So the game as a whole, looking back to where the early game started, it was an offensive try, and we finally had the Lifestealer sneak through. Completely imbalanced hero.
Yeah.
Volvo, please fix.
I actually really liked what Rising started with the Bat Rider off lane and Lone Druid mid. I think it was meant to throw off sort of a Lifestealer 1v1 versus Lone Druid, because we've seen a few times Lifestealer can wreck a Lone Druid if Lifestealer's in his short lane. Whereas a Bat Rider actually does very well versus Lifestealer, I feel.
Yep.
So they threw that in there, but the Garo was bottom.
And
the Nyx
Garo
was
got
mid.
first blood.
Yeah, and Garo got the haste
Lucky
rune, and
Haste Rune, yeah. Well.
man, that's
They
unfortunate.
Despite that, Rising Stars actually bounced back. They killed. I think they killed the Jar. I don't know if they killed him, but they definitely shut down his farm. And Rising Stars at one point were about 1k gold ahead. Around 10 minutes in, they were farming better. Lone Druid was winning the farm chart. Rattlesnake actually didn't look like they were farming very well. But then mid-game fights happened, and what do you see as sort of the big key thing in those sort of fights that turned it around?
Well, I think as Blitz mentioned, there was some really nice Nyx and Pales. And honestly, when you have a Lifestealer, Garo, and a Nyx as your 3 sort of core heroes with levels,
Yeah.
you just have so much damage output in team fights, physical damage output in the team fights before anyone can get their Ghost Scepters. And you even have a nice touch of like magical damage with the Nyx and the Garo. Their team, it felt like a lot better at early skirmishes, and Rising Stars wasn't really able to avoid those as well as they should have hoped. Like Lone Druid drafts a lot of the time, especially if he's your mid hero, which is sort of immobile. You sort of want to be split pushing a bit more. Usually, if you have a mid like a Queen of Pain, a Puck, or something, or a Clockwork, you can force those early skirmishes because your mid hero is usually the highest level.
Yeah.
But when it's sort of more of a statue mid, as some of my teammates like to put it, you can't really count on your mid to carry you through those early mid-game team fights, whereas a Nyx does.
And the other big thing is that those 3 heroes for Rattlesnake aren't very item dependent. Nyx Assassin can do a lot without items. Lifestealer, he needs items, but very cheap, cost-effective ones. He went phase drums. Gyrocopter got a second drums. I know you like the drums on Gyrocopter, and with all the early game fighting, seemed to be a really nice pickup.
Yeah, it's really nice, and like Gyrocopter's a hero, well, same as Lifestealer, I guess, where you get upgraded boots. You can go treads or phase. I like phase on both heroes actually, but you get a phase of drums, and your fight potential is really high, just with very low amounts of gold, and then they scale into the late game very well just by picking up, as we saw, the Garo had 4 tier 4 items or tier 6 items, whatever you want to call them, and no one could touch him.
Yeah, he flash farmed really fast all of a sudden. And then I think the other big thing was that one fight which is near the bottom tier 2 that didn't go well at all for Rising Stars, because that was when they lost the gem which they'd picked up on Enchantress. Super actually played really well in Enchantress. To me, he was sort of their best player that game, but he lost his gem. He finally went down after like a 4 kill streak or something, and Rattlesnake took the game. By then, I mean, Rattlesnake, once they got those mid-raxes, it took them 15, 20 minutes to end the game, but they were, you could tell, they had the game, unless they made some big mistake.
I mean, like a gem swing in itself is huge,
Yeah.
and once Raxes are down and you're against more carry potential, you're going to get out-farmed, and then it's very hard to win. It's not impossible. We've seen teams come back from that before, but they didn't really have like an Enigma Black Hole or like a RP to catch both the enemy carries to give them that, oh, we have like this 1% chance of winning if we hit this like perfect spell usage, or they clump up or something like that. So first game goes to Rattlesnake, and I think they played very well overall.
They look like to me like they could easily take this series to a Rising Stars. We'll see if they can bounce back. We'll take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll be back with game number 2 between Rattlesnake and Rising Stars.